Today's recipe is Mississippi pot roast. If you've ever had a hankering for a big chunk of meat and some good flavor, here's a recipe for you. Mississippi pot roast. You gotta have a chuck roast, half cup of butter, 1 jar of pepperoncinis, ranch dressing mix, an au jus packet, salt and pepper, and any broth of your choice. First, you're gonna heat your skillet up and you're gonna put some oil in it. So this way you can brown your roast so you can seal in those juices. Make it nice and good. I used olive oil, kind of spreading it around. Mississippi pot roast is a southern favorite. This was traced back to the 1990s, so not so long ago, by a lady that was putting in her church recipe cookbook named Robin Chapman, and she was from Ripley, Mississippi, and that's how this kind of floated all over the internet till now. So this recipe has different variations, but it pretty much stays the same. You're gonna have your pot roast, your chuck roast, you're gonna use your au jus gravy, your ranch mix, your pepperoncinis, and then you're going to either put it into a crock pot or in the oven. Here I'm showing you what I seasoned my pot roast with. It was just something that I got from this great meat shack that we go to, Crivets, Wisconsin, on our way to my husband's family's property up in past Green Bay in Wisconsin. I love this meat market. One of these videos I'll do with them because it's fabulous. They got great spices there. But anyways, so it just has paprika, peppers, onions, all kinds of different flavors. You could use whatever you wanted to season your meat. So here I'm just gonna brown it and make sure I seal in all those juices, and then get ready to transfer that over into the crock pot. This was a little bit of a fail with the rubber tongs. At this point, I probably should have gotten a fork, but oh well, live and learn. I didn't want to scratch my Teflon pan, so that was my issue. So here you can see that I'm just showing you how you brown it. Just keep browning that meat till it's ready to go. Now I'm seasoning the other side. This is one of those meals that are kind of just a let it and forget it. You know, you can put the pot roast over just about anything. A lot of times there's recipes out there where you would put it over potatoes, noodles, because it's going to cook for such a long period of time, because that meat is so tough as a pot roast, that type of meat, and it just needs to cook for a long time in order to get nice and tender. And by having it go to that such a long time as like 8 hours, it is pull apart, and you will see it is very shredded by the end of this video. And you will see the kind of surprise at the end of what we decided that we were going to use it for. I don't actually have me plating it, but I'll kind of give you the idea of what I decided to do with my pot roast. Here I am transferring it into my big crock pot. I have a larger family, and the fact that I wanted to cook for the rest of the week, so I was a little lazy and just made a big bunch of it. So you may not have 2 pot roasts, you may just use 1. And here you can see I'm setting it on high. And then I'm going to add the broth of my choice and start adding my ingredients in. So I may show a video on how I make different broths. This particular broth is actually tomato juice from my garden. Here I am dumping the pepperoncinis. I'll be honest, I was having a struggle. They got kind of all clogged, so it's really hard when you're filming with one hand and trying to cook at the same time. But they finally came out, thankfully. So the peppers and the juice actually enhance the flavor. The au jus gives it a nice flavor and a nice gravy. The ranch gives it some more. And I thought that the tomato juice would pair nicely. I mean, I could use a chicken broth. I could have used a beef broth. I could have used any broth that I want, a vegetable broth, but I felt that the tomato juice would pair nicely with that. And as I was showing you in the video, how when you're naturally canning it, it separates the actual pulp from the tomato versus more of the water content in the canning jar. So I just dumped that all in, all the seasonings. I add a little minced onions to give it little flavor. So this is my addition to this recipe that's pretty much a staple, just using the au jus gravy, the ranch mix, pepperoncinis, and the broth. I added onions to it because I like onions. So I just pour that over, probably about, that was about a cup, or I'm sorry, maybe a 3/4 cup. Kind of move it around, kind of get that gravy and those dry powders mixed into the liquid. Move the meat around a little bit. And then after I kind of layer things, I will put the top on and let that baby cook, and I'll just periodically check it. It smells delicious in your home, let me tell you. There you go. The starting of the Mississippi pot roast. Look at it go. So the recipe that I was using called for butter. So you could add a little bit of 2 tablespoons of butter and salt and pepper. And then just let it cook. Away it goes. Here I am checking on it. See, as you can see, it's still together, pretty firm. You can see that gravy just really forming all those juices. Nice and delicious. So this is where you can imagine where it goes really nicely over mashed potatoes or a pasta or even rice. So here I'm getting ready to show you what my end result of what we decided to do with our pot roast. There it is, all shredded. We decided to make nachos and tacos. So I have low carb tortillas. My husband was having some chips, and we decided to